and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy Podcast, episode 412 for the week of July 30th, 2019. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
Hello, welcome to the Comics Conspiracy, episode 412 for the week of This is Scott Shea.
The week of Scott Shea. Oh, that's a long week.
It is.
And Kevin is here to celebrate the week of Scott Shea.
Yeehaw.
And Charlie, and I'm just reading comics.
What are you reading, Charlie?
Does Scott Shea's week go with Shark Week?
House of X at the moment.
Oh, yeah, we got that last week. Powers of 10 is out tomorrow. So I'm sure we'll have lots more to say about those books in the coming week. We'll keep it spoiler-free tonight. Hey, there's not much going on this week. Comic-Con was last week, or we talked about Comic-Con last week. But
everyone just got so much information that they're like, we need a break.
Yeah. There's no news. However, we had a very last-minute thing to talk about that I'm very excited for. But I did want to mention earlier today, Ava DuVernay, which is going to be directing the New Gods movie, came out and said that, hold on to your seats, shocking news, but the female Furies and Darkseid will both be in the New Gods movie. So,
holy shit, no.
All I want to know is Steppenwolf coming back for the New Gods movie?
Yes, please. Can't wait.
That Steppenwolf?
That exact Steppenwolf.
Oh.
You know what they'll probably do?
Terrible.
They'll probably have Steppenwolf in and they'll just kill him instantly or something. Yeah.
With the Omega beams.
Whoops.
That's the pre-credits. You failed me. Zzz.
Come on. Steppenwolf totally could have been a great villain. He's just very generic in Justice League.
There's
but
the key word in that sentence you just said.
Could have been.
Yes.
I'm definitely not hashtag release the Snyder Cut. But the idea of Steppenwolf being the Silver Surfer, the emissary, whatever, and then Darkseid coming in later and being in the next movie, clearly that was the setup. It's just that didn't happen. So,
well, because Tom and Ava over the weekend were tweeted a couple pictures of them just we're hanging out, collaborating.
Yeah. They've been working on the after Comic-Con. He was and Tom King was in Hollywood. They were working on the New Gods movie. I'm. It's weird because normally with these movies, you don't really hear directly from the people. It usually is they don't talk about the fact that they're working on it at that moment. So it's weird that maybe they're just trying to prep people for this and being very upfront that yes, this is happening.
There's a lot of buzz
sooner than you think. Maybe
there's a lot of buzz around Ava right now with her her success with
Ava.
Is it Ava? What?
Huh?
How do you say it?
Ava DuVernay, I believe is her name.
Ava is what I said.
Ava.
Okay.
You and Ava were hanging out.
Yeah, we're hanging out, chilling.
You, Ava, and Tom.
I'm horrible with her last name. Okay, jeez.
DuVernay.
DuVernay. She has a lot of buzz around with her Netflix series about the New York Five.
Tons of buzz.
And
a
lot.
I don't even know what you're talking about. There's no buzz for me.
No,
There's
buzz?
The
Central Park.
They
Central
haven't
Park 5,
buzzed
right?
me.
Yeah, Central Park.
I'm blanking on the name of the show now. Yeah, but clearly she's got some big TV stuff going on right now, and it's such a weird. New Gods is such a weird move for DC, unless it's going to be much more like the Mr. Miracle comic. I can't imagine these guys are going to direct some, balls to the wall Kirby. 70s sci-fi or 60s psychedelic.
You're killing
you're
killing Kevin's inner child
$300 million spectacle, right? That's not
my fear is that it's going to be too overstuffed with characters.
Yeah,
and my other fear is that it's going to be too small.
See, my secret hope is they just managed to make a awesome New Gods movie that incorporates all that Kirby packed with characters, everything, and it's a huge commercial success. And
we get New Gods too.
Yeah.
But that's not what these people do, and that's not what Warner Brothers is doing.
I'm aware of that.
So I just don't see it. New Gods would be their Endgame, right? It would be like their Infinity War and Endgame combined, because it's such a ridiculous, big thing.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, but why not hope for something that may seem impossible just in case they pull it off?
But I'd rather have the Mr. Miracle comic book. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too. But until we get a trailer or more information, saying it's got Darkseid and the female Furies in it means they could appear in the background somewhere in the movie.
Well, it's clearly going to be about Darkseid. There's no chance that these characters would not be in it.
Well, Mr. Miracle is not really relevant to the New Gods story.
Right.
So I don't even know if that character is going to be in the movie.
No, but I mean the style of the Mr. Miracle comic. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine this is going to be some 3.5 hour long CG Lord of the Rings.
Come on.
I would
Kirby.
I would love it, but I just can't imagine that's what they're going for. So
can't wait for that hashtag to trend. Hashtag full Kirby.
I'm keeping my expectations minimal.
Let me give you my third fear. Oh, that it's going to be like Thor 1, where they remove it from the fantastical and put it just on Earth.
Yeah, but a lot of that stuff does take place on Earth, right? So, like past the Kirby run, right?
Yes, there are Earthbound stories, but I mean, I don't want to see it all in like a small town with 3 characters fighting.
What if it's just scot-free and it's like escape story?
But that's not the New Gods.
Yeah. I would expect you'd get the overall story of Highfather and Apocalypse and
the Pact.
The
legendary.
I would think that would clearly that is the New Gods story, right? That is the first story you deal with the New Gods, because you have to set up the world, and this is the world that these characters were. The 2 warring kings basically kind of had a peace pact, switched some kids, and now they're at each other. They're kind of at the borders. War's about to brew again. That is the New God story that gets told over and over and over again.
That would be, in my mind, the easiest way to do is to kind of go through the big, crazy sci-fi stuff for the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes, going through that history of the war, the peace, the treaty, the exchanging of the kids, and then focus on the kids for the rest of the movie in more of a...
Kevin, Final Crisis. What if they're all killed and reborn on Earth, and we have New Gods reborn on Earth? Not the way you'd start that.
No. I would not do that first thing out of the gate.
Yeah.
There's just too much heavy lifting to do.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to do a Lord of the Rings style prologue with a narrator. Once upon a time, there were 2 planets, and blah,
I think
blah, blah.
They would have to do that. Yeah. Again, I don't expect we're going to get a 3-hour origin movie of the New Gods. I think we're going to be well into it, or at the end of the war or something. Yeah.
My general expectation is, based on the sort of source material and the fact that it's DC, I agree with you. They're not going to go for the budget it would take to do a big, all-encompassing thing. But I could see them starting with the big, all-encompassing, get an idea of the scope, and then figure out a way to drill in on just really good sets with...
Well, I like that in like the beginning of Lord of the Rings, like you said, the Green Lantern movie, Wonder Woman did that really well, where they kind of have their...
Black Panther did it good too.
Black Panther did a pretty good job with that, yeah, where they just have their their recap and narration of, hey, here's sort of the setup, and now we're in the world. Because otherwise, it's... I think people are done with like that generic origin movie, and not that a New Gods movie would be generic, but there's just... I think it's such a big movie.
I just think with a lot of this kind of property, for me, it has to do with the budget. It's we're going to put a big budget piece at the beginning, we're going to put a big budget piece at the end, and then we have to figure out how to do a middle on a modest budget.
Well, I don't even know. Let's say they were going to adapt and rule the Kirby stuff out, because let's just say they're going to use the Kirby backdrop, but they're going to tell their own story. What, like, short of the modern Mr. Miracle comic, what would they even draw from? There was like the Walt Simonson Orion stuff.
So, my thought is, honestly, considering it's a New Gods movie, they would set up with sort of the first bit would be sort of the swap of the children. Then you follow
Orion and Scott-Free
growing up on the different planets and sort of what that means, because you don't have to have this big, like, yes, alien worlds and stuff can cost money, but it doesn't have to be so CGI based. You can build good sets and that kind of stuff. That
well, it's Star Wars. Like they went they went back to having actual sets versus doing everything CG in 1, 2, and 3 because it was just better to do the set.
At least for 7.
Yeah. But that's kind of my mentality on it is you start with a big war. You start with the big, this is what Apocalypse is. This is what New Genesis is. You get the extreme backdrops, and then you just have to focus on Granny Goodness's area and building out some rooms and looks and feels for that, and then focus on...
Well, but that's my question. Ignore the Kirby element. That's just the backdrop.
Yeah.
So what's the story?
What would the story be if you don't do that? Is there a story there?
Get Morgan Freeman just to narrate the background of it?
I mean, my thing is the story in a way can be explored through those two children as they grow.
But that's what I mean. That's the Kirby stuff. Get rid of that concept. Is there a story if we don't do the crazy outer space cosmic war? If we use that as just a backdrop, can we do what the Mr. Miracle comic did? Other than that, where could they draw these stories from? Again, I said there was the Walt Simonson Orion run,
there was the Byrne Tales of the Fourth World, I think it was called.
Yeah. But that's like old. That goes into like the prehistory
Kirby,
stuff. Yeah. I just don't know that
I guess my thing is when you take the New Gods and Apocalypse out of any other
Final
DC
Crisis,
character,
really, I don't have another answer to this.
When you take them away from any other DC character, because based on the fact it's a New Gods movie, I could see them having a final scene with Superman at the end or something like that, but I don't think you're going to see any traditional...
the super cycle to the Nards.
You just answered it. You do the Jimmy Olsen
that'd be great.
Super Town with Don Rickles. There you go. It's solved.
Nothing says 2020 like Jimmy Olsen riding a super bike. Yeah.
And Hippie Town.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. Dark Side talking on the television.
I mean, most of the really good like New God stories and like Dark Side stories that I remember aren't really driven just by New Genesis and Apocalypse. There's always another faction involved in the story.
Oh, maybe they'll adapt that Bug comic that Mike Allred did like last year or whatever. That was trippy as hell.
Yeah.
Man.
Yes, but I liked it.
Yeah, yes. It was cool.
The
Forger.
Yeah. Okay. So you're about to wince when I say this, but I'm not talking about the tone. Okay. I'm not talking about the tone. I think a good model for this movie would be Ragnarok, and by that I mean big, colorful, otherworldly.
Yeah.
Like you.
I'm just afraid DC doesn't want to do that.
Tons of comedy.
No.
Apocalypse and Darkseid are known for their slapstick routines.
I think you can do this.
Jeff Goldblum as Darkseid.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you could make this movie. You've just got to really tread the line. My two favorite issues of the Fourth World are one is called The Glory Boat. It's an issue of New Gods, and it is as big over the top as Kirby ever got in his career, and that's saying something. And the other one is called Hyman, which is this secret origin of Scott Free as a child in the orphanage and escaping. And those are completely opposite stories. One has nothing relatable or human in it. It's just giant space opera.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say nothing human, but I mean it's bigger than life. And the other one is very human. It just happens to be set in this weird place.
Right.
I think if you meld that DNA somehow and find a way to walk that line, you could have the best of Kirby without it getting bogged down in all of his craziness.
Well, and that's what I thought. That's what I think is more likely, that you get the big background, you get the big backdrop, you get the intro, and then they focus on a smaller story within that world. Because adapting the New Gods directly, to me, is almost impossible in a movie.
I think you're gonna get a combination of, like, they're gonna combine a lot of this stuff together. Like, watching Swamp Thing, I see a lot of different things from like early Swamp Thing days to stuff from Scott Snyder's Souls run. Like, there's little bits and pieces throughout. So I think it's combining what works in both the Kirby boom big stuff, but also what really works with something as personal as Tom King's Mr. Miracle.
It's okay. Ryan broke my brain with Jeff Goldblum as Darkseid.
Jeff Goldblum as Darkseid.
Yeah. No, the only reason it broke my brain is my brain immediately went, well, they've already had Weird Al as Darkseid in Teen Titans Go, so...
How weird could it be?
Perfect. Time to move on to the other big topic.
Weird Al
about.
Is a good segue?
No, Swamp Thing. So, the final episode of Swamp Thing is this Friday. I've not seen any of it yet, so
I'm still a handful behind.
I'm going to spoil the hell out of myself, though, on Friday. I'm almost done with Doom Patrol. I just have a couple episodes left, and I'm going to get to Swamp Thing.
Doom Patrol is amazing.
Yeah, it's been good so far. I just watched the Beard Hunter, a couple episodes of the Beard Hunter. Different from the comics.
When he just puts it in his mouth, you're just like...
So he's just a dude in the comics. In Doom Patrol in the TV show, he's like, I ingest people's beards and I can track them through the multiverse. It's like... Cool. All right. It's gross.
But it's just the close-up shots of him putting that the hair in his mouth,
licking his lips and stuff. Oh, so nasty.
It was so good.
However, Mark Veridin, who's he's a showrunner. He's a producer or showrunner. I can't remember what he is. He's a producer. He's a producer on Swamp Thing. He tweeted out earlier today, and I'm very excited to read this. Dropping this Friday, the final episode of Swamp Thing 2019. Okay, now reading that, it could just be he wants to say this is clearly, Swamp Thing 2019, meaning the Swamp, not the old Swamp Thing TV show or the cartoon or the movies. He wants to, calling it Swamp Thing 2019 is maybe just what they're calling this show. However, Swamp Thing 2019 could also mean they're going to do more Swamp Thing. All right. Mm-hmm. Expect some resolution, some strangeness, maybe even some tears. And whatever you do, all caps, stick around after the credits for, well, you'll just have to see.
Animal Man?
You don't say something like that.
You don't say something like that.
If this is the end of the show and we're getting nothing else.
Yeah.
This, to me, clearly is a tease of something more. Now, whether it's something Season 2, Justice League Dark.
Could be Animal Man. It could
be Animal Man. Could be... I'm behind... I'm totally on board for this.
I
need what's his face?
Matt Ryan.
I need Matt Ryan to walk on screen as Constantine, and then just like Justice League Dark 2020, right, or 2021 or whatever, right? It's just the show they're going to do a second season just straight into Justice League Dark.
They're going to take the canceled Swamp Thing show and the canceled Constantine show and combine
make
them.
It something else. I need this to happen.
So I'm finally all caught up on Arrowverse, by the way.
Oh, good, nice.
I haven't done that yet.
I've got a good 3 years to catch up on that.
Black Lightning?
Hurry up! Crisis is coming.
Do you consider Black Lightning part of that? Because I'm caught up on everything. So.
No,
except for Black Lightning.
Haven't
just not this last season.
I got Arrow and DC Legends, the back half of both.
Now, mind you, it's entirely possible because they haven't announced Black Lightning being part of Crisis at all.
No, right? It's not. It's not. No, it's separate.
But it's good.
As long as he's not part of Crisis, I can get away with remaining behind on Black Lightning.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more to say about that once that Crisis crossover starts up. Yeah. That's October, I believe.
Yeah, it's early on in the season.
If I understand it, it's not that early in the season because from what I understand,
the show start early September.
Arrow's going to... I believe it's going to finish its run going into Crisis.
Oh, okay.
And then, from what I understand, Crisis isn't even going to be I think they're going to end on a to be continued, go on break, and then finish Crisis after break.
Okay.
I think that's what they're doing.
It's not this year? It's after holidays?
Well, no, I'm saying it starts at the holidays and then picks up and finishes after the break.
Well, Supergirl premieres at the first week in October.
Yeah. And I think is Arrow right prior to that? I don't remember I don't know if they've given a release.
Oh no, they did do the Brandon Roth thing as Superman.
Yeah, again, I saw that.
It was reprising.
Yeah. What's the season 8 start date? No. Let's see. Does it say? I don't know. I don't know if I have a date.
So every time Ryan's voice goes up at the end, I just go back in time thinking of, I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, I don't know if they. Oh no, it says the 8th season is set to premiere.
Every time everyone hears it,
the 8th season is set to premiere on October 15th. So are all the shows starting October? I thought they were starting in September. So
Flash, I think, is early October.
That would suck if they do part of Crisis and then go on break for like 6 weeks and then come back. I would not be okay with that. That's really.
What about if the right before the break is the appearance of the Anti-Monitor? And then they go on break. So it doesn't start. It's just the villain arrives.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on what the break is.
As long as it's the Anti-Monitor, he's like, yeah.
Oh, well, it just depends on what the break is. Yeah. It just depends on at what point they get to. Because I feel with the last crossover they did, there was a little bit of filler in there, even though it was pretty short. Well,
because they finished it. A couple of shows finished right at the break.
Yes.
With the crossover. A couple, I think, had one episode after.
Well, because Batwoman does Batwoman start this fall? No, Batwoman starts after Arrow, I believe. So I don't know. I haven't looked at all the release dates for this stuff. Anyway, we're talking about Swamp Thing. Swamp
Thing's really good. I can't wait to finish it.
I am. Yeah. When I actually want to talk about Arrow, I'll look something up first. I will spoil myself for whatever the post-credit Swamp Thing is because I want to know.
Okay.
I mean, look at it this way. I will be able to tell from the headline if it's like Swamp Thing post-credit scene announces new show. Then yes, I will look at that. If it's Swamp Thing's over, something happens, but we don't. It's not.
What if it's you won't believe who showed up at the end of Swamp Thing?
I would probably watch that because I would probably look at that because I assume that means it's going to be more to it. I don't know why they would do, the Green Lantern movie. Clearly, you don't set up Sinestro to not have another movie.
You've referenced the Green Lantern movie twice tonight. Twice.
I'm not paying any attention at all.
There's a reason.
I feel like I would have made fun of him if I heard the first reference.
I didn't hear the first one.
You don't edit the show to have 3 less episodes and have a post-credit scene that leads to nothing, right? Clearly, when they made the Green Lantern movie, the intent was there was going to be more, right? I don't think at this point of a TV show, they know if they're going to do more, they'll do more. It's not like they just throw the entire season out and then they're like, well, that's it, no more.
Why did they cancel this show again?
Nobody knows. There's been like a billion different reasons why, and nobody knows what's really happening. But I am very excited to see what they're doing with Swamp Thing.
The first reference was during the New Gods about setting up the mythology and the opening of the...
Oh, that's right. I like that was the only good part of that movie.
I like the opening with when they were kind of...
the first 4 minutes of Green Lantern, it's probably some of the best cinema I've ever seen. And then for some odd reason, it turns to garbage.
Awesome.
Just like Man of Steel. God, that Krypton stuff is amazing.
So, at least according to the article that I'm looking at right now, the CW president, Mark Pedowitz, said...
Oh, Mark, yeah.
That it was going to air 3 episodes in late 2019 and 2 episodes in early 2020
for
Crisis.
Oh, God!
You're so sad. You're gonna have to wait like 2 months in between.
Or he could just wait and watch them all when they're together.
Oof. Oh. Do they? I mean, I have to assume then you break at
winter break.
Oliver's death, right? I mean, you break Green Arrow's
Spoiler.
death.
What?
I mean,
wait, he's dying?
It's Crisis, and they're not...
Ryan! Once again, with your frickin' spoilers.
It's not a spoiler.
Oh.
It's Crisis.
He's guessing.
And they're not canceling the Flash or Supergirl show anytime soon. So I'm going to... and Arrow is over. I'm going to assume they kill Green Arrow.
He died in Crisis?
No, but I'm assuming he's going to in this one.
Although it did say he's playing multiple versions of Oliver Queen in this crossover.
Oh, cool.
Please. The Neil Adams costume with the Robin Hood hat. Yeah. Please. Please. And a boxing glove Arrow. If I could just see that in live action.
Honestly, with how much they've already announced for Crisis, you have to assume there's a bunch of stuff they still haven't announced.
Yeah.
Well, I think we talked about this briefly last week. And there's rumor that Linda Carter is going to be in it. Clearly as Wonder Woman. Burt Ward, rumor to be in it.
No, he's for sure.
Oh, is that official now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I I don't know if they've just confirmed he's going to be in it or what role he's going to
he's going to be in it.
I need Earth 2 Robin.
I need
Earth 2 Robin. Yeah.
Did they do what's his name from Smallville? Tom.
That's again, one of the rumors.
The rumor is Tom Welling and
Brandon Routh.
No.
Well, Brandon Routh is known. He's reprising his Superman from Returns.
Supposedly he's
like
reprising
Kingdom Come
Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Michael Rosenbaum and
Lex,
again, rumor, who knows, it'd be fucking amazing. I wonder, maybe Constantine will meet the NBC version of Constantine. NBC? Was it NBC?
NBC, yeah. That would be really cool.
Or bring in like Doom Patrol, or bring in like what's it, like Teen Titans Go or something. Just bring in like one of the animated universes for a second. You know, did they just pop? I mean, are you telling me you couldn't picture a Legends of Tomorrow Teen Titans Go crossover?
Oh, I could totally picture it.
100%.
After the puppet stuff?
Yeah.
I could totally.
Yeah. It'd be incredible.
Oh, man.
I'm looking forward to Teen Titans vs. Teen Titans Go direct-to-video.
Yeah. That's soon, huh? Isn't it?
It's pretty soon.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah,
that looks hilarious.
So next week we'll know a little bit more about we'll know a lot more about something. So we'll have a lot more to say.
I want to finish it by next week.
Yeah,
that's okay. I won't be on the podcast next week.
Why?
Because I won't be on the podcast.
Where are you going to be?
Why not, Charlie?
Because I'm going to be out of town.
This is kind of a big deal.
Yes, I'm going to miss the Swamp Thing talk.
No, he hasn't even watched it.
Yeah, I should finish up Doom Patrol this week. That's my plan.
So we can talk Doom Patrol next week.
We're gonna get some questions. I know we don't have a ton of.
Let's empty the mailbag. Do it. Come on.
I'll go to the mailbag.
I got something to talk about.
I'll go to the mailbag.
What are you talking about?
Well, no, Brock, it's coming. It's coming.
Okay,
because
cool.
Brock wants to talk about the boys, but we got some questions about the boys. So
Did you see all of it?
I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah,
I watched all of it too.
Okay,
it was really good.
Well, let me get to a couple questions. Let me read this, and then if you guys want to talk about the boys, still let me ask these real quick. Travis says, I haven't started it yet, but have you watched The Boys, and how does it compare to the comics? Pardon me. And then there was one more question about The Boys. Let me find it. Because we're not going to do spoilers.
Yeah,
but we'll go just kind of tonally white. And Cyclops says, have any of you had time to watch The Boys? What do you think? I already know Ryan's answer. I don't watch fake superhero shows. Cyclops, this is where you're wrong. The Boys is a real superhero show. It's a comic book. It's a real comic book, right?
Yeah.
So it's 100% a real superhero show. It is not. There could be superheroes that aren't Marvel or DC. Like Umbrella Academy is a real superhero show. It's a comic book first, right? When I say fake superhero stuff, I mean. What's that? Will Smith movie or even Brightburn? Like that's not a superhero movie.
It's a fucking supervillain movie,
right? That's a little bit different.
It's like a horror version of Red Son.
Yeah, I'm just not into a fake superhero stuff. So if you guys want to talk about The Boys. But again, keep it spoiler light.
Scott, have you read the comics?
Yes.
Okay, so did you finish the series?
No, I probably got through 35 issues.
Sounds about what I got through, because it was around the time where they were doing the individual origin issues.
You're like, I'm done.
But they were doing like Herogasm, which was that miniseries. And I was like, you pushed the envelope way too far.
Garth Ennis. And Derek Robertson, Dynamite. It was originally DC.
It was
and
Wildstorm.
Yeah,
for a moment.
6 issues was Wildstorm.
Yeah.
Did they even make it through that many issues?
Yeah,
Wildstorm?
I think the first story arc was Wildstorm, and then it picks up. It's 1 to 4 or 1 to 6. I know because I restocked Boys recently with the back issues. Okay, so neither one of us have finished the comic.
Yeah, but the show was through like the first arc.
Yeah, it's
through maybe
close.
what 6 to 12 somewhere in there.
12 issues that goes through about,
and it was good.
Oh yeah, I think tonally the show gets the comic book like Walking Dead got.
Right.
Got, the tone of the comic.
I mean, there's some modern adaptations that they had to make for it to make sense.
And, one of my biggest disappointments is the dog isn't in it.
But they made reference
to it, but, the dog wasn't in it. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but, whatever.
Sorry. But, yes, we don't even know he's not in it.
This is true. But, yeah, overall, it's fantastic. Like, it's not full throttle Garth Ennis in your face with Derek Roberts and gore.
You just absolutely hate the capes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not watched all of it yet. I've only made it through like the first episode, just because of with kids. This is not a show.
You're not watching.
With kids. People are like, "You have free time?" I'm like, I was watching this after I put my kids to bed, and like, there's only 8 episodes.
Yeah,
so it goes fairly quick.
I can definitely say, I feel like the show is safer than the comic book in some ways.
Yes,
like quite a bit.
We had some people that were customers were here earlier today, and daughter had watched The Boys and really liked it, and she was like, "Oh, is the comic like even more gory?" And it's like, it's not more gory necessarily, but it's
more just in your face.
Nothing gets cut. Nothing is
more.
Yeah,
it's
nothing
more inappropriate, more bloody, more violent, more. It's just a little
very
bit
sexual.
More
lots of
the comic book has a toilet or a paper towel roll and a hamster. Okay, like, you know what I'm talking about when I say that.
No, there's choices they made in the show where the point still gets across, but they
kind of cut everything and then
which I think is beneficial, because I like a lot of the Garth Ennis stuff that I've read, but I've always liked the stuff that I felt like when things pushed, it made sense to me. Like I love his Punisher run.
So this almost made more. Well, the Punisher run had to be a little more even censored than like any of his other stuff.
But there's times when I'm reading his stuff, like The Boys, where I feel like, okay, he's just taking it this far because he can.
Yeah.
So do you feel like it was reined back in enough that it made it more accessible to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you still. I mean, it's.
You get it. You get that first scene.
It's in the trailer. I mean, it's in the trailer. They still capture those moments of just absolute horror and gore with Huey's girlfriend.
Oh my god, that was
like even seeing the trailer and then watching that, you're still like, what the?
Yeah, that was like, if you haven't read the comic, you go through and in live action, you're going.
It's like it hits the blood hits his face, and it's just like, it's great adaptation of the source material. I recommend watching it.
Wasn't Huey Irish? So
in the comic,
that's a little annoying for me.
So in the comic, but the nice thing is Huey in the comic was based around the appearance of Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
And Simon Pegg plays Huey's father in the show.
Yep.
So I like that little kind of nod to.
Oh, and he was a conspiracy theorist before in the comic.
Yeah,
in this he's not.
He's more of a tech kid, like nerdy kid, and I think that taking that, changing him into that works for the show, especially getting.
You don't have to roll into more of a backstory there.
It also makes the rude awakening a little more. Every man, a little less,
and just like Vought, you're able to hit more demographic points because of the younger age.
Elizabeth Shue is fantastic.
Oh my god,
Elizabeth Shue is really good in this.
I want her to be my mommy. Yeah, but it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, and it got picked up for a second season already, right?
Okay. Everyone goes, oh, it got picked up for a second season. They knew there was going to be a second season based on just the end alone. There's no way that show was not going to have more to it.
Well, you end on a cliffhanger, so
the female was good, right? Like
you end on a cliffhanger, so they have to give you more seasons. That's how it works.
Yeah, but this one is.
I think in a way, Amazon's certain shows. I kind of feel like they're ready to green light 2 seasons all at once, but they prefer to hold off the announcement to make it sound like you all really need to check this out. We've already renewed it. It's so great.
Yeah, probably. They're like, oh, we know this is pretty good. Let's just not tell anybody.
The Boys does add to a multiple season type show, but I mean, it's not going to go hugely.
Can't go Walking Dead numbers.
Yeah, can't go Walking Dead numbers,
because it's not it's not that kind of open world.
Right.
going off of another Amazon show that you guys roll your eyes, but Bosch is really good in the sense of that each season is kind of like that story. So it's not necessarily that there's a cliffhanger at each one. It's that it's a self-contained thing. There's a story running through it from the beginning, but you can kind of jump in without having that, oh, what's happening in the next season kind of feel.
I just started the Amazon show Sneaky Pete.
Love it.
It's good.
Love Sneaky Pete. Yeah. It was on my best of.
Now I did pause my binge watching of Schitt's Creek to watch The Boys.
Schitt's Creek.
Oh, Schitt's Creek is this Canadian show that's hilarious as shit. Yeah, seriously.
I don't know.
Just give it a try. It's on Netflix.
You said it was on
Eugene
Amazon.
Lovely. No, this is. I stopped viewing this one to go watch The Boys. But yeah, everyone should check out The Boys. It's awesome. And you should pick up The Boys comic book because they finally released them in nice collected editions.
They're soft cover omnibuses
right now. I'm looking at Kevin. Kevin's like, okay.
Welcome to the 21st century.
You watch Deadwood?
Yeah, originally when it was on. You didn't see it the first time around.
No. Hey, don't feel so bad. I just binged it before the movie came out. So.
Yeah, I watched it the first time around, but I'm back watching it so I can be fresh before watching the movie.
It's good. Yeah. I don't love it. Off topic of comics and geek culture.
That's all right. We got some more questions.
More questions, and hopefully emails, because Kevin's frothing at the mouth over here.
No, it's a light news day.
Yeah,
what better time than a light news to knock these out?
Travis, he says, my 2 stores, Current Comics, down in Salinas, sold out of House of X, except for a couple copies of some of the variants. How did guys do for you? Fantastic, yeah. House of X sold amazing.
It was good.
Yeah, a lot of lapsed people.
I'm caught up on House of X.
A couple people.
Ryan even has copies still.
I'm caught up.
Yeah, we ordered a lot.
So Travis, give Ryan a holler.
But not that many, like not a crazy amount, but we still have some. He said, and are you thinking about auto-subscribing everyone that buys House of X, or the subscribe to House of X, to the new Jonathan Hickman X-Men run if they are buying House of X and Powers of 10? And yes. What we did for people that bought Uncanny X-Men, we subscribed them to House of X and Powers of 10 because that's the direct kind of, through line for what the books are. And no one said no. Everyone said yes. And our subscriptions doubled on X-Men going into this. So huge success. And I will give them all X-Men. I think the vast majority will take it because if you're reading this, you're probably going to want to see where it goes after because that's the full story, right? House of X and Powers are kind of like the event.
Is there anything besides X-Men that you would auto-subscribe them to on the 6 that are coming?
No.
Okay.
I mean, so we send out emails that say, hey, you're subscribed to X-Men by Jonathan Hickman. You might like these other titles, especially New Mutants, which is going to be co-written by Jonathan Hickman. So I could see a lot of people moving over to that. And again, there's never any obligation. But the X-Men, I assume the vast, vast majority of people will take that because, again, that is the through line and the next main title. So we kind of keep people on those if they're buying the previous stuff because Marvel relaunches so often. Dan says, no question. I just want to hear you yell about Republicans for a few minutes. Oh, Dan, just go to @Ryan Higgins Ryan on Twitter. Care about it all you want. All you want.
He's Mr. Political on Twitter.
This question came in via Twitter.
Yes. He knows. No, Dan knows. That's from Jim. Oh, a long time friend Jim. He says, trying to think of a constructive way to put this, but oh my God, how good is Hickman's X-Men? I'm drawing a blank. If there's a better way to put this. But he's a fan. So you guys have I think we all read it. We talked about it a little bit. Charlie, you're slowly making your way through the first issue. Getting there. I'm very surprised by the let me rephrase that. I'm very happy for the reaction to X-Men. The X-Men have been very middle of the road to pretty lackluster response.
It was pretty much people like, Bryce Larson were just auto getting it because they've always gotten X-Men. And
I was afraid that some, the more hardcore X-Men fans might not like it. I would be curious by the end of the series what someone like, I'm sure Bryce is going to like it either way, but it's pretty dramatic change. We actually have some more talk. I'm going to get to a few more of these.
Charlie's just arrived at my favorite part of the first. House was the first one.
Yeah, which part?
The FF.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I don't want to say anything else.
I don't. Well, I'll poke around House of X.
Shut him down.
While Charlie's still finishing up the first issue, we'll move on to a few more. But we'll probably come back to it because then Julian Titus and a few other people had some questions.
Julian Titus from the Nerds Without Pants podcast.
That's it. Zach Fig says, "What is DC's current fascination for Superman and Batman's dads?" And yeah, it's very dad heavy over at DC right now. Jor-El has been kicking around Mr. Oz for a little bit here. Obviously, Thomas, Flashpoint Thomas Wayne's been playing a big role in Batman. So it's just, I don't know if it's similar ideas at the same time or if there's more to it.
Kill him.
So I'm actually a little curious with like the Jor-El stuff because initially it all seemed to be tied to Dr. Manhattan and Doomsday Clock.
And now it's just kind of not.
I'm curious if they're going to revisit that explanation at some point.
That Doomsday Clock delay,
maybe they're having to delay the explanation because of a delay in a comic book.
Oh, Charlie, I did have some update for you from San Diego. I am assembling a dark legion of believers who are coming to. I'm like the Thanos death cult. Believers who are coming to my side of Doomsday Clock will not finish in 2019.
Yeah, those are some like Marvel guys you conned.
Chris is not a Marvel guy.
That's right, Chris.
I've been on board with you the whole time. I
put money on. And join.
I put money on.
I just can't wait till it finishes this year and your whole cult gets destroyed.
Well, so be it. But we're.
I'm just enjoying Ryan Higgins' thread on Twitter. Like
December 26th.
Just like
we got the official
weekly updates.
We got the official date that there is December 26th will be the final comic shipping week. So they are delaying a day. Comics will be Thursday for the very first time in a long time.
What?
The week of Christmas. We get those books the week prior though. So
they should have just moved it up to Tuesday.
Yeah. But Doomsday Clock might be in that shipment. If not, you're looking at January 1st. So let's see. We'll wait. I mean, as of right now, they moved it into what?
11 got moved to October.
No, September. It got pushed back into September.
Yeah.
It was August 30. It was like the end of August.
Yep.
Or it was mid-August, and I got bumped out to end of August.
Your Twitter thread is the best thing on there about that.
I just update it every week. I update it every week with whatever the current shipping schedule is. So fingers crossed, no more delays for Doomsday
Anyway,
Clock.
Charlie, if you want a hooded robe and you want to come join us, I'll get not a clan robe. I mean, like a cult hooded robe is what I'm talking about.
I still believe in Johns.
Okay.
Zach Fig also says, do you think Tom King's Batman would be better if, following Flashpoint, Thomas died during the Button, which was the Flash Batman crossover, and then rather than suddenly seeing him again with Bane, we were to see Martha instead? She was the Joker one, right?
Yeah, she was
Brian
the Joker.
Azzarello's miniseries.
Which they do have a kind of throwaway line, too, in the King.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how it's, like, how... this is going to pan. This Batman's, Flashpoint Batman's going to pan out in King's run, especially since Skeets has disappeared again.
Yeah.
We saw him in that last panel in issue 50, and then when we came back to the City of Bane, there was nothing.
Yeah, they'll deal with it. They'll deal with it at some point. Peter says, any desire to go to New York Comic Con? Yeah, lots of desire. The wallet is not willing, but one of these days, I'd love to get up to New York.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Short of Comic Con, I mean, people always say it's one of the best conventions in the country. Lane is going, if I'm not mistaken. Is that official? Did he say he was going?
It's not official, but he
wants to.
He was planning on it.
Okay.
I don't know if those plans have been.
Are you?
I love this is news.
You debating? What's new?
I love that this is news. Yes, we think Lane is officially going to go.
Well, the question is anyone going to New York Comic Con? And Lane it probably is going.
I think
Kevin has.
Let's leak that on Twitter.
I might have missed the window on getting a
tickets
badge.
Okay.
So
you don't need no stinking badges.
It's New York Comic Con. They don't want badges. San Diego wants them.
Brock Sager and Associates LLC, also known as Norman on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, Norman, your best friend. He says on March 17th. Marvel Comics is scheduled to publish the X-Men Children of the Atom box set, a $500, 3,600-page
on March 17th?
collection. That's what it says. Collection of X-Men comics. Do box sets that size sell well at your shop outside of Charlie?
Does it say outside of Charlie?
It says outside of Charlie. Do you sell 10 copies? Under 10 copies?
I'll take the under on that.
Books like this we generally do not order. After seeing the video for the Crisis box set, though, I might have to break down and get one.
You're get one for the store or for yourself?
Get one for me. Yeah. And leave it at the store and show people.
So they can,
and so then they can buy it, and I'll order more in. That might be my goal because I have.
How much was the Crisis one?
$500. It's 14 hardcovers. It's Crisis, every crossover, history of the DC universe, and like an additional 2 books of bonus stuff. It's ridiculous.
$500 is
it's beautiful.
You're not gonna pay $500 though. That's just the sticker price.
I'm sure I can knock some money off for good customers like Scott.
I don't know. I always find it interesting, some of these box sets, because a while back I was looking at some of the stuff available overseas, and they had a X-Men book club kind of thing that was doing the monthly X-Men book, and that's what some of this kind of stuff reminds me of, is the kind of similar. You get all these stories and whatnot. So they're just doing it all at once.
That could be what this is. This could be that collection, but I don't know what's in this Children of the Atom box set. But they tend to be. So they did an Avengers one, which was just 10 or 12 big Avengers stories. It was not here's 300 issues in a row.
Well, they have a monthly Avengers thing overseas too, so if I recall.
It could be that's what these are. It's the American version just at once.
Okay. At least for those who really hate when spines change, these are the packages for you.
Yeah, these are definitely.
You were getting that Doctor Who set. Is that done?
The Crisis. Okay. Target has the Crisis box set for $3.90.
Well, that's Target. They love those discounts. Retail is $500. So another question about House of X. Let's move on. Tor says, have you guys... I know he asked this question a few times.
Wait, here's the... I've just found the official product description of Children of the Atom.
Oh, okay, yeah. What's in it?
All right. The X-Men's complete 1960s to 1970s adventures from their very first clash with Magneto through the nightmarish days of future past. So I guess it's issue 1 up to
146 or whatever. Yeah. Okay, so that's I have all these. It's the first 6
trades.
It's the first 6 Epic collections. Yeah.
But I'm not sure how you get 3,600 pages, because X-Men was a reprints for a huge chunk of the 70s.
Right.
66 and then 90
up to 94
to 146, 147 or whatever.
Yeah, so you go 1 through 66 and then 94 giant size.
You're only getting 120
annuals.
You're only getting
I assume they're doing annuals.
Yeah.
So 120.
So I'm not sure how they get to 3,600 pages.
It's a lot of adventures.
Well, they're probably adding extra stuff.
I would absolutely love if they actually put the reprints in there in order.
So the Epic collection that came out,
sucker.
The Epic collection that came out last week, which is X-Men Epic Collection Volume 3, is 67 through. So it has all the covers, right, for 67 through 93. It has the Amazing Adventures issues with Beast. It has a Spider-Man issue with Iceman. It has the Avengers issues with the X-Men. So it has all those of the things post-66, pre-giant size that involve the X-Men.
Yeah.
So that could be in there as well as a couple collections. Yeah. And that would add a couple hundred.
Because it does say the X-Men's complete 60s to 70s adventures.
So that would include all that too. Batora says, have you guys seen the redesign for Dawnstar for the Legion reboot? She looks god-awful. Her design has remained mostly unchanged since her creation, but her new design changes way too much. She looks like a stick, I'm assuming stick figure, very thin. Stick now, and I hate the wings. Most of the new designs make me nervous. Dawnstar is very like Native American inspired in this new version, much more so than the traditional Legion of Superheroes Dawnstar. I think a lot of this though is just Ryan Sook versus Michael Turner, right? Clearly, when he was doing the Justice League issues with her,
I haven't seen their
very different. I mean that's old school Dawnstar, yeah, or like modern old school Dawnstar. She's fantastic. The new version is less.
Just type in Ryan Sook and the
you'll see it.
I don't love the Matter Eater lad.
He's kind of. I love skinny Matter Eater lad.
This is like Matter Eater lad in the end stool of an Irish pub, ready to have a brawl.
Yeah, well, he's yoked.
No,
Matter Eater lad
that's
should.
Not okay. This one.
That's Dawnstar.
Yeah.
What the?
She's just little less cleavage. Let's just say that. But no, the great thing about the classic Matter Eater lad was that he's just tiny little guy, the skinny little guy that's just like, I eat anything. Most of it looks okay. A few characters on that big poster that got released.
No on Matter Eater lad.
Yeah,
he looks like the Juggernaut.
A couple of them, I'm just like, I don't know who this is supposed to be. Most of them, I'm like, okay, I know who this is. Just a different costume. That's fine. I'm okay with the vast majority of them, and I trust Bendis to have a good voice for these guys. But Ryan Sook's designs are going to be very different than a Silver Age design, and very different than a modern person would do that art. So
no.
Is that block?
No, that's Matter Eater lad.
Oh, so I can't. I can't see it.
Oh, Timberwolf looks too bulky.
Yeah. Timberwolf again is another person that I always thought more like he's more Wolverine like, more smaller, not this huge guy. They made Timberwolf humongous. But whatever. Most of these designs I'm okay with. A lot of them are very recognizable. Yeah. But I get that some people maybe aren't so happy with Dawnstar, but they're going for something different.
Matter Eater lad's worse.
Ulysses says, you guys going to read Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil in trades as it comes out. And Ryan, have you seen Daredevil Season 3? No, not yet. But Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil, I've heard nothing but great things. I definitely want to check it out. It's in my giant pile to read.
I don't think you do.
Yeah, I know. I've heard.
I want to read his Spider-Man
that
a
one
life
issue.
story.
Yeah. Oh, the miniseries.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, Daredevil. Do you guys? Scott, were you picking up?
No.
Daredevil. Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Unless it's really, really recommended. I mean, I'll read it if it's really recommended. But there's just so much to read.
Colin says, since Endgame came out today on digital, do any of you have an all digital library? He says, I myself have both physical and digital. I mean, I'm 99.9% physical. I just buy the Blu-rays and stuff I like.
I buy the Blu-rays and load the digitals. So
yeah,
I haven't bought a Blu-ray in over a decade, and I don't have digitals.
I've started to dabble on digital, but primarily
Scott's flying.
The
old skull and crossbones there.
I have one of those general issues where it's
I don't
they only ever put this out on DVD, but I can buy it in HD digital and stuff like that. There's a couple of things I bought digitally just because that's the only way to get it in the format I wanted it.
Yeah. I just bought the Godzilla. Oh, that Godzilla box
Criterion
set. Holy shit, yes.
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, wait, really? Instant buy. Oh, look. Art Adams is doing like cover artwork. Oh, I'll buy another one.
The lineup of artists in there.
It's incredible.
Really?
Good.
We have never got a complete collection of Godzilla here. It's the first 14, 15 movies, and completely digitally remastered.
From each of the three eras?
Oh, the first era. The first, what was 60... What year's the first one? If that's in like mid-70s, late 70s, it's that first era of Godzilla movies.
There's like two eras within that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's all the early stuff, chronological order, completely remastered, Blu-ray.
Criterion 1000.
Yeah, it's the 1000th release for Criterion. I have never bought something so fast.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for, so I have to assume they will do the second and third.
This just in, I don't have a Blu-ray player.
You could probably buy it digitally. But not to go
nothing.
totally, but yes, I am stuff like this, I will support the fucking hell out of because I want them to do more.
It's available October 29th.
Yeah,
and retails for $224.95.
Honestly, 54 to 75.
50, okay, yeah.
How much is it? What's the price on that sucker?
$180 on their site, and I'm assuming it's matched on Amazon and everything. It's like $10 a movie.
Somebody on here says, but usually there's a 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble's in November. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Twice a year, Barnes & Noble does a 50% off Criterion.
This happened. They announced this right when the Barnes & Noble one started, so I just picked up Blue Velvet and not Lost Highway, but the Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive of the Criterions.
Nice.
But yeah, there's just a fucking killer lineup of comic artists are doing all the Godzilla cover artwork for this.
Yes, I just pulled up the King Kong versus Godzilla.
That's the Art Adams one. Yeah. Like, I would almost want to buy the stuff for the art alone, right? Yeah. Even without the movies. I have never been so excited. So, yes, plenty of physical media for me still.
Now you just got to find room on your shelf for this giant Godzilla box.
Yeah. Oh, it's all goes in my garage. I've storage for all my movies.
Okay. I mean, at one point I was full on hundreds of DVDs / Blu-ray, and then I
only do it for stuff like this and the comic stuff. I don't do it for random things.
My Blu-rays are mainly just like
I just do the nerd shit,
like nerdy shit. Occasionally, like
I just do the nerd shit.
Yeah, totally.
Occasionally I get like stuff that's really like popular, Oscar-winning on Black Friday sales, like $5. I'm like, whatever, I'll pick it up now.
I mean, my collection has slowed down, but I still regularly buy stuff that I want to have in the collection.
Now, this is a question.
And Batman Beyond's getting a Blu-ray release.
Blu-ray release, yeah. Justin says, is anyone watching Pennyworth? I'm really enjoying it so far. Did Pennyworth start?
Did it even come out?
So the premiere dropped on like on demand and stuff already. I have no clue.
Is it on Freeform or
it's on Epix?
Epix,
which I think is one of the like
it's like an HBO. It's like a pay channel,
but they appear to have dropped the premiere just for free on demand.
Okay, but that's it. There's the show has not started yet. Because they had
as far as I know, it's just a premiere.
Wait a second.
They had it at Comic-Con, and because they aired, there was premieres in L.A. I know our friend Seth went and saw it in like a theater or something. Because he
sees all sorts of quirky stuff.
Yeah,
like that,
he goes to all that stuff. So no, when the show starts, I will totally watch it. Do I get Epix?
Has Seth ever been on this podcast?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. No.
Not even when he was here?
I don't think so.
No, I think we had Seth on.
Did we? Maybe.
I think we had him
once.
I feel
like forever ago.
And that was it? You were like, no, you can't come back?
Well, he doesn't live here. He actually is moving back up here.
No.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
The return of the Seth.
I am so excited for Pennyworth. That seems like it's just so ridiculous that it's going to be great.
I'm giving him like this odd look because
hard-ass boiled Alfred? Are you kidding me?
I feel like it's a somewhat quirky version of Gotham, and you hated Gotham.
Well, it's in the same universe as Gotham.
Pennyworth?
Yeah, they announced that.
Episode 38.
Now Ryan's giving us the same look.
Episode 38 is when we had Seth on.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm now questioning my commitment to this show. They did not announce that. Did they really?
Search it.
Look at Ryan.
Fake news. I'll look this up later. Now I'm really concerned.
You know what I'd be in for if it was old Alfred in a tuxedo.
Donald at Donald Higgins Donald.
Like old Alfred, like classic comic book Alfred.
With a cane?
Like, not even with a cane, but with like his tuxedo jacket and his like silver serving tray.
Yeah,
and like kicking ass.
Just chucking it like who's the
Odd Job?
Odd Job. Okay, gonna burn through a couple questions. Gonna go to a retro email, and then I want to talk about House of X really quick.
My new favorite segment, a retro email.
Retro
no, you have to do like the keyboard.
Beep, 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 retro.
No, you should have you should cut in the sounds of like an old school modem dialing out.
Ding, ding,
mail, motherfucker.
Justin also asks, for mature readers like Vertigo and Black Label, do you have a certain age to buy them, like with R-rated movies? Have you ever denied a kid from buying a mature title? I've had to like take a book out of a kid's hands and be like, maybe not.
That's not true. Ryan looks at him and sizes him up by height and goes,
"You're not tall enough to read this book."
No, but generally, there's not a lot of free roaming kids that come in here, right? So, and we long did away with the adult section, so that makes it a lot easier.
I mean,
Ken just came in and bought you out.
Yeah.
Walking Dead was at the height of its popularity. I felt like it happened more often that I'd have to.
Yeah, but again, it's usually with a like I think I mentioned this on the podcast a week or two ago. We had some parents come in and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're looking for some books for our kid. She loves Walking Dead and Saga. How old is she? 12. Well, okay." Yeah, that's fine, right? If you're buying
Saga's
it for your kid.
a little more mature than Walking Dead, though.
But I mean, if you're buying it for your kid, go crazy. Buy whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not going to.
But I've had...
We got some good Lady Death variant covers for you.
I've had a few conversations with parents in here where I'm just like, if you're looking for a Spider-Man story, look at these ones.
Yeah.
Or if you're looking at there's still a certain amount of expectation of, any comic book should be for children.
Yeah.
The funny thing is we don't get too many like kids in our store that aren't with a parent.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just random kids wandering in. It happens.
Occasionally we get kids that pop in from the next door from the math place.
But they're waiting for their parents.
But they're waiting for their parents, and they're normally kind of just wandering around. If they buy anything, it's normally when their parents come to pick them up. I mean, I think a lot more parents are involved, especially around here, in like the content that their kids are getting.
Yep.
And they're not letting their kids, go bike down to the local comic book store and buy something. So we don't have kids that are exploring and seeing, it's crossed on the wall.
Last question from Kyle. What's your ranking for all the Earth human Green Lanterns, and why is Guy Gardner number 1? Oh, Kyle, that's
Kyle's wrong.
I do love Guy. So we have Alan Scott. Oh, there's 6.
We have Alan Scott.
There's 7.
You've got Hal.
We have Alan Scott, Hal. You got Guy, Kyle.
You have John, Kyle.
John Kyle.
And you have 2 new ones.
Jessica Cruz.
And then who's the other guy?
And you have Baz.
Simon Baz.
And then you have who's the kid
Mosaic?
from?
The Mosaic guy?
Well, no, the kid from Young Justice. Is she human?
Oh, you're talking
Teen Lantern.
The Teen Lantern girl from Young Justice.
Is that the current Young Justice?
Yeah.
I'm behind in that.
I don't know if she...
Try not to look at the comic Charlie's reading.
Yeah.
I'm like angling myself in every possible
Charlie,
direction.
Nobody's read that. Don't read
Yeah. So Teen Lantern, she basically makes this device that's able to tap into the Green Lantern's energy. She's not technically a Green Lantern, but she's using their powers.
So let's cut her out just to simplify it.
Yeah. Man.
So what is put them in order?
Yeah, what's your order?
Are we counting Earth 2?
No, I would just go with Earth 1. Again, Earth 2-1 is just
number 1. Hal.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And then nothing else matters.
I mean, Hal used to be like the super boring Green Lantern that nobody cared about, and that's why they made all these other Green Lanterns.
I always cared about Hal.
But I mean, that was the perception. Yeah. But the modern day, Jeff Johns and other writers have done so much good stuff with Hal Jordan to make it so much a better character.
Alan
Flash
Scott.
might be a little bit of a trickier question between Wally and Barry.
Number 2, Alan Scott.
I have some.
I agree with that.
3, Kyle.
You've lost me.
Are you a John guy? Number 3.
Probably for historical value.
And then Guy. And then Kyle.
Yeah.
And then Simon.
I'm not a Kyle fan. I never have been. I wouldn't rank him.
I loved seeing his girlfriend get chopped up, and he went nuts.
I would rank Kyle below Jessica Cruz.
Wow.
See, I like Jessica Cruz quite a bit.
False.
Yeah. Baz is pretty nothing to me. He would be my bottom.
Yeah.
They could kill
unfortunately.
him.
Yeah, I would probably put Jessica in. God, that's tough. I love Alan Scott. I like Alan Scott a lot.
He's number 2.
So Alan Scott's kind of a weird case for me because
he's not a real Green Lantern.
Well, he doesn't fit within sort of the Green Lantern core.
No, he's an Animal Man, Swamp Thing Green Lantern.
Yeah.
According to new mythology,
I would put Guy and John pretty even,
yeah.
And I would put, I think, Kyle and Jessica Cruz pretty even.
I do love Guy's Justice League International.
Yeah, well, that's why people love Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
That's.
I mean, This is one of those questions that
I'd put Guy
I find interesting just because I almost want to rank them by moments in time.
Yeah. Well, One Punch just One Punch Man or One Punch Man Guy Gardner is just like one of the greatest moments of comics. Period. Not Green Lantern. Comics. I mean, that's it's also Batman, but
right.
Yeah. It's more of a Batman thing, but it's still one of the greatest moments ever.
Well, and it's just been repeated so well over the years.
Yeah.
So, Charlie, who's your number one?
Oh, Hal is definitely my number one. That's regardless of era. Hal has always been my number one.
So
I agree.
Now,
with you.
is that our choice because we didn't like? Let's say we took somebody that's like 70, and they're like, "No, Alan Scott's the Green Lantern."
Well, this is the Flash conundrum that I have. Right? I like Wally. I like Barry a lot, but Wally was my Flash.
Wally was my
right?
Flash.
Yeah. So it's
when I started reading Flash more often, Crisis Time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is where I have.
But I also liked Wally as Kid Flash as the sidekick.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
See, this is the conundrum I have a little bit because where I would rank certain characters absolutely changes over time.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with what's currently going on in the comics. And like if you had asked me to rank.
Oh, pre Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, Hal would be super low on my list because that character, they killed him for a reason. There was nothing going on.
He always would have been sort of top of my list.
No way.
Post-crisis, there was nothing going on with Hal Jordan.
That's not the character's fault.
No.
That's bad writing.
Of course.
But I'm saying you can't penalize the character because nobody did anything with it.
There's no other way to judge this stuff.
The character was good in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and look at all kind of the old stuff and so.
But I know like right now Guy Gardner wouldn't be very high on my list, but there has definitely been times I've liked what they were doing with Guy Gardner quite a bit. Like
Guy, to me, it works in doses. I don't need an ongoing Guy Gardner series.
Well, this is true.
Who was he when he wasn't a Green Lantern?
Warrior.
Absolute
that
trash.
Was terrible.
The last real man in comics,
Tomasi did a great job with him for an extended period of time with his Green Lantern Corps run.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really, really well done.
I liked it when he was on the Red Lanterns, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was good
I liked it when he had the yellow ring. And how he got the yellow ring.
Okay, so
wait, Kilowog.
Favorite non-human Green Lantern, pick one.
Arisa. No question.
Chip.
Mogo.
Oh, Mogo.
Non-human Green Lantern favorite.
I love Arisa so much.
No, it's going to be Calabac.
I'm taking Tomar Ray.
Tomar Ray, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like Tomar too?
I have no opinion. It's just like Tomar Ray was the first alien Green Lantern I ever saw.
Yeah.
And so it's like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it kind of just imprints as your...
Did no one say Kilowog?
I did. I was about to say Kilowog.
I said Calabac.
Oh, you said
Kilowog.
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 Oh, Kilowog's fantastic. Yeah. I don't know why I like Arisa so much. I've always liked her. She's not really.
She's kind of looks like Namora.
She's in the background of every comic ever, and like, has there ever been more than like 2 stories about her?
And for me, it was easy to say Chip because
I love Chip.
He's a freaking squirrel.
How about Badge? Chip and Badge. So good.
What was the furry one's name?
Bar.
No, it starts with a G, doesn't it?
Oh, Nort.
Yeah.
Nort is number 2. Yes.
I really
Nort's
want a Chip
amazing.
and Badge like buddy cop one-shot special. That's what I need now.
Oh, what's the fucking eyeball? The big giant crystal eyeball.
Oh yeah,
I love that guy. I love that guy. Oh, he's so cool.
Who was
fucking cool looking.
Or was that a Yellow Lantern?
Was that in the Morrison? Oh no, that's a Yellow Lantern. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Pick a year. 2013 to 2013 to 2019.
Come on. Years on them. What are my choices? Where do I start?
2013 to 2019. We did 2013 last time.
Let's go with 2015.
2015.
I was thinking. Good year.
Let's pick a month.
How about?
Let me see if I can get close. I don't have every month for everything, but I can.
I was going to say let's go for like the dog days of summer. Give me like an August 2015.
August, okay.
Do you have August available? If not, then back up one.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Let's see. Well, we'll get through this one really quick. This is from Rocky Raccoon. He says, I decided to check out Hearthstone to see what Brock was going on about, and then it cost me several hours of
July.
sleep. God damn it, Brock. No. But I have more for August. I have more for August.
I'm curious if he still plays.
Do you still play?
Yes. New expansion's out next week.
Let's see.
Has it been 5 years since you've been playing this thing?
Oh, God, this thing's been around a long time.
Let's see. Well, look, we're going to talk about some X-Men stuff, so why don't we talk more about the X-Men? This is from Felix.
So, what?
What's up, Felix?
August 10th, 2015.
August 10th, 2015.
There's like 20 of them from August 10th.
My question concerns a certain X-Men run. Been reading through through my Marvel Unlimited subscription, but I can't remember what run of X-Men it was when Scott cheated on Jean Grey with Emma Frost. That, of course, would be the Grant Morrison.
Yeah, that's Grant Morrison.
Run. All right. I want to read what led up to that in the immediate aftermath, after all the Eva Bell drama from the current Uncanny X-Men run, which was 2015. So there was no lead up to it. That's the start of Morrison's run.
Yeah.
He has a hard, much like House of X, Powers of 10, a just hard line that they ignore everything that happened to the X-Men prior to his first issue. They're just like, and now it's over, and we're just doing something completely different going forward.
Felix, I hope you found the answer to that in the last 4 years, and that you weren't still waiting.
5 years. 5 years.
Oh.
No, 2015. 4 years.
Oh, yeah, it is 4 years. I can't do math. But no, that's the Grant Morrison new X-Men run, and it's so good. That we need, God.
You need to reread that.
And I've been talking about the Grant Morrison X-Men run a lot recently because of the similarities in House of X and Powers of 10.
Well, I think it's because, X-Men had such great stories, with the Claremont stuff. And then there was kind of a lull for a while where there wasn't anything for people to really grab onto. And then you had the Morrison run, and then you had, there was some Brubaker. Brubaker did some stuff in there that was really good. And so they were starting to have these patches of really good content coming out.
Oh, I missed a question. I would hit this question before we get to the X-Men stuff. This is from D. Baroldi.
No, but we'll go back to the retro.
I actually meant to save this for you, Kevin. Have any of you read the Invaders or All-Star Squadron comics by Roy Thomas that he did in the 70s and 80s? And if so, are they worth checking out?
All-Star Squadron is really good.
Yeah.
And definitely worth checking out. I think it's on DC Universe.
I put together a run of All-Star Squadron, Young All-Stars, and what's the third book he did? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He did those 3 retro kind of Earth
Infinity
X book. Infinity Inc., thank you.
Yeah.
Those other
That's why I do back issues.
World runs, and they're fascinating.
I wish DC would collect All-Star Squadron.
Yeah.
But
they don't.
I think you can get it on DC Universe.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth checking out.
They'll solicit it and then cancel it.
If Jim Jokic is listing Invaders as like his favorite comic of all time.
I'd have to go back and read the Invaders again, but when I read it the first time it was the 70s run?
Yeah.
I read it in the 80s. I picked them up in the 80s in the quarter bin.
My problem with that Invaders comic from the 70s, and I got one issue when I was a little kid, and I never went back, because it was drawn by Frank Robbins. And if you don't know Frank Robbins' art, he's a legendary artist. I take nothing away from his place in comics history. I do not like the way he draws superheroes. And just Google Frank Robbins, it's Robbins, Invaders, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I can't comment on the quality of the comics, because the art just... scared me away. But All-Star Squadron is really good.
When Jeff Johns started really doing a lot of work for DC, I said he's kind of like the Roy Thomas of like the modern day. And that might be an insult to some people, but Roy Thomas has – some people just don't like Roy Thomas. That he was too just into the minutia of comics and the history and the weirdness and craziness. But I think Johns does such a great job of taking elements – like Roy Thomas did, and just like he knows the history of this stuff like nobody else, and can work the stories and make continuity make sense with it. So, sorry, I missed that question. I want to get back to it. But Julian Titus, he's got a question about power.
It's number 2.
Well, he says I read Power of X. I read Power of X. I'm assuming he means House of X.
I thought we were in 2015.
No. We already did that.
Okay.
We wanted another one.
Julian says, what the actual fuck? What happened to protecting a world that hates and fear them? Why do the X-Men seem to be acting more like Magneto every time I check in on them? I already had to deal with terrorist Cyclops.
Go read the first page again.
Am I missing something?
Yes, read the first page again.
Zach Fig says, wasn't this Grant Morrison's take as well? We're going to stop being superheroes. And Julian Titus says, I didn't like that run either. Sorry, Ryan. Well.
Was it the first page, Kev? Or was it the first
couple pages?
Just go read the first couple pages again.
No, it's the first page.
Was it?
Yeah.
And then there was another generic protagonist says, is Xavier still in Phantom X's body? Does that mean he's now your favorite character? And I do love me some Phantom X. I have no clue. I don't know what the deal with Professor X is.
I actually picked up House of X and to read it. I'm like, okay, I'm interested, but a lot of this, I'm like, I don't know.
No, nobody does. Nobody does. And last from Tom says, is Hickman's X-Men really that good, or is it just being overblown due to years of X-Men books being somewhere in the meh range? So, these are all great questions. I think Hickman's X-Men is, even though we're only 2 issues in, it is definitely doing something different. Mm-hmm. Will it last? Will it stand the test of time? Will this be the continuity in 10 years? No, probably not. Just like Morrison's X-Men was not the continuity. The issue after he left, right? Yeah. It immediately reverted back to what the X-Men are. They'll be back in upstate New York at the X-Mansion doing their normal X-Men thing in 10 years, in 8 years.
Playing baseball.
This stuff is very secular. It always comes back around. But for the time being, it is a pretty dramatic change. And if, again, I don't want to go based, we'll look 20, 30 issues in, but definitely people are coming back for this for the first couple. So
I don't know. To me, Xavier is just odd because he looks like the Franklin Richard, like a grown-up version of Franklin Richards.
That is not Professor X. I have no reason to believe that is Professor X. Yeah. The status of that character prior to this was maybe he kind of came back from the what was with
Shadow King.
Yeah.
I didn't finish that, but
I read it all, and I'm like, so is this Professor X? Like, what's the fucking deal? I don't know.
Or is he still stuck in the brain that the Red Skull's running around with?
No, that's all done. I have no clue what the deal with this Professor X is.
So I have
and we got the greatest scene in all of. It's nothing.
Is it in Power?
Yeah, it's nothing.
I haven't read it yet.
It's nothing. He's talking to Moira McTaggart, and he's like, read my mind, Charles. And she's like, huh? And he's like, and then that's the end of it. And then it goes flash forwards 100 years in the future. All right. And then, so Powers is like kind of half house and half its own thing. It's going back and forth between kind of the 2 points, but it's the weirdest.
You really want to open
the weirdest claim.
I'll do it. I'm just wondering. So what I was saying to you, Brock, before we started recording was, if I knew nothing about these books, if I didn't know they were tied together, I would have picked up that first one, House, because I look at that and I go, well, I know who those characters are.
Yeah, you have.
I don't know when Jean Grey became Marvel Girl again, because I'm kind of out of the loop. Especially 60s Marvel Girl.
No, I mean
from the Neil Adams era.
Well, at least she's not wearing that fucking awful X-Men Red costume that she was wearing last month.
But anyway, she's Marvel Girl again. Fine, I'll just go with it.
Yeah.
The cover of the second one, Powers,
is nothing.
I would not even reach for that on the shelf because I don't know who any of those characters are. Yeah. Nothing about that cover says X-Men to me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just so out of the loop.
Is that Loki?
I thought that was Loki in the green and black. But she, I don't even know what Loki is anymore. Is not in the X-Men, right? Is not a mutant.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
Loki's like Loki. Yeah. Like okay. Sorry.
There's a character on that cover that I thought was Loki.
Yeah. Well, Red. Isn't that Nightcrawler's kid or whatever?
Yeah,
from
it's like Nightcrawler's kid,
the red one. Yeah.
So you've already lost me.
No, I've lost myself. I don't know the answer to who any of those people are either. Just from looking at the cover.
It's like Xavier and Moira in the top corner, but it's like
Huh?
So I enjoyed the first one, and I'm going to pick up the second one. So I'm just saying I wouldn't reach for it on a shelf.
I went through on Wednesday, and that continued into the weekend and today. I'm at about a 90% rate at this point where people did not know that you had to read both books in order. Mm-hmm. Most people thought it was one book. Most
people thought it was two separate books that you picked. No. That you could pick up one or two.
Almost everyone had no idea there was a second book.
They didn't know about Powers of 10?
No. Oh. And when I said, it's two books and you have to read them in order, it's one story but two titles, and almost every single person did not know that. So I'm concerned that people are not going to pick up Powers, or they're going to be like, wait,
they're going to pick up House 2 and go,
this?
Huh?
Yeah, exactly, because you have to read them in
order. Two parts.
You finished Powers of 10.
I didn't finish it.
Oh, yeah, but rub it in. You've read most of it.
But I am going to say I found Powers a little more accessible, the bit I've read so far. Like, I like that about it. And in some ways, he's taking a page out of Aaron's sort of Thor with the jumping around, so you can kind of see.
But does it need to be two different titles? Or could it just been House of X 1 through 12?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Because that's going to be my biggest thing reading Powers of 10 is this. Do I need to read? Need to be two different.
So
books?
far, reading Powers, I don't immediately go like, "Oh, I had to absolutely have read House." Now, mind you,
it picks up directly from it.
Well, yes, it picks up from it, but with the general.
Like directly from it.
Like I'm looking at the cover right now because Kevin didn't know who these people.
So without getting into spoilers, yes,
the
status of characters from
Nimrod.
one to the next carry forward, but in terms of what they're talking about in the story and everything else, it doesn't like immediately pick up with a conversation or even a particular situation.
I mean, the stuff with Magneto is directly after the scene in House of X. How House of X ends.
Yeah. I love talking around spoilers. It's so
I'm just saying
fun.
you have to read them all.
Yeah.
Well,
this is my thing is after I read Powers of 10 1 or Power of 10 1, whatever it is, I'm going to go, all right, did this need to be two different books, or could it have just been House of X 1 through 12? Yeah. Because to me, it's like Powers of 10. If that's the only reason is to have another number one,
of course,
then yes, it's that's stupid, and it's again a Marvel dick move.
I mean, there are two stories, but they are interconnected, and elements of both will appear in the other books. So
but the weird thing is, so this is the weird thing is everything that's
reading
happened,
both enhances both, but I'm still not convinced that if you
give me that book, because there was a scene in here with Magneto that directly takes place after the sequence. Maybe just didn't get to it, but we got to read through the first half a few weeks back, and then we saw the rest of it. And the Magneto scene in Powers is directly continuing from where it.
But it looks like nothing in House.
Yeah, all the stuff with Magneto and Mystique and all this stuff. This comes
but the conversation isn't about anything that happened in the previous issue.
Stop reading it. You're spoiling it for Kevin.
Conversation.
It's a separate conversation, but it's meaningless if you haven't read House of X, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And these elements in Nimrod and these characters will appear in House, I guarantee you, because these books are flowing into each other.
Okay, we'll have more on this conversation next time I'm on, not next week.
Sure.
When is just looking at this again now. So the Red Nightcrawler is.
I think that's a shadowed version of regular Nightcrawler. I don't think I think that's a shadow.
Okay.
I thought there was like some Red Nightcrawler kid from the future or something, but I don't even know.
Well, they could just be bringing in his dad, Nightcrawler, Azrael.
Maybe is that what it is? Azazel?
Azazel.
Is that what it is? Maybe that's
I don't
know.
It is. Maybe.
Kevin's done.
I just looked at it and was like, that's just
I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it.
No, I know.
Based on all
my
this?
point was that the cover wasn't inviting like the cover of that house.
Yeah. Well, and what I like about the cover, like the cover of House actually kind of blends to she's wearing the Marvel Girl costume, which takes you back to that era. Wolverine's wearing the stuff from his brown and yellow costume again. So it's like you kind of have these era costumes that they're wearing. So it's kind of like a little like, oh, this is again some like the history of X-Men contained here. But who knows? But yeah, Powers of 10 is a money grab.
Was there a question in all this?
Oh, I mean, we asked some of the questions. I mean, just people said they didn't like it, or
okay.
People were saying it's the best X-Men ever, and no specific question. Just
isn't that guy from was it Hickman's Avengers, the yellow dude coming in at some point?
Yellow dude?
Yeah, the guy with
Ex Anilo.
Oh no! Fuck no! Someone else made that. Someone else
didn't
made
that
that
happen
joke.
at the end of that run?
No, it was the beginning.
Is that the beginning of that run?
Yeah, it was Hickman's.
There's
beginning.
a lot of that stuff that I liked, and then some of it I was like, oh, I don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah, no, X.
That's Nilo. That's a lot of Hickman stuff, though.
Ex Nilo. If he shows up, man, the collector market for his Ex Nilo's first appearance.
If he shows up,
huge.
Out. I just hard stop. I will never read another book with that character again. He's so stupid.
Okay, Donald Higgins Donald.
Huh?
At Donald Higgins Donald.
Donald Higgins Donald.
I don't know who Donald Higgins is.
Ryan Trump Ryan.
Very long Twitter handle. That's shorter. That'll probably work. All right. That's podcast. House of X, Powers of 10. Go pick them up, and yeah, we'll continue talking about these. I'm sure there'll be some
every few episodes, just because they're weekly but offset.
In the back, they have Scott. If you want to grab the back, they have the reading order. There's 3 issues that I believe are highlighted in red. I heard talk that might be the more like those are supposed to be kind of the key issues.
That would be House of X 2,
which is next week.
House of X 5. And House of X 6.
So I don't know, because I think I wonder if that's actually not it then, because I think there were different issues in the other.
No, it's the same in House.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's the same list? Okay.
Yeah, it says 2 series that are one, so it's just a money grab with the Powers of 10.
Yeah, but the House of X next week, something big. Okay, it's supposed to happen, so I'm sure we'll probably talk about it a little bit more next week after I get through Powers.
Did you just spoil yourself?
No, I did not.
What?
I'm not that.
Has anybody figured out the Hickman code yet for the
yes
stuff?
People figured it out the first day.
Okay, just checking.
I don't know what it is, but yes, it's the internet. People figured it out the very first day it was out there.
Yeah, they just started looking at stuff in the mirror.
It's not Marvel VR,
upside
right?
down.
Someone figured it out.
It's not Marvel AR or VR or whatever.
Before we sign off, could Charlie just give a brief plug to the purchase that he made tonight?
Yes.
The special order.
No, somebody needs to take a picture.
Because I want to know exactly what this is called.
So Charlie's been reading a comic book this whole time.
So I special ordered
he got really excited. There was a glimmer in his eye.
So I ordered the Usagi puzzle.
The opposite end, the other end of the size scale from that.
Okay. So I ordered the Marvel's Monster Edition.
I wouldn't call it a Monster Edition. I'd call it
That's what they call it, the Monster Edition.
Child
like
edition.
in a zombie
I was trying to get him to say what the official name is.
Yeah.
It's the Monster Edition.
Yeah.
But what is significant?
The end.
It's
Jesus, you people.
It is.
Could you describe what it is, Charlie?
Okay. It is a printing of the Alex Ross Marvels series that is bigger than Wednesday Comics.
Yeah.
It's very, very large.
So what we'll have Charlie do is we'll have him take a picture with it and post it on his Twitter at Insanity and Chaos, so you can just see how large this thing is.
And keep in mind that Charlie is a large man.
2.5.
Like literally, it's like a child or a large baby size.
Maybe 3 feet.
It's larger than any. It's larger than the artist edition books.
Yes, it's bigger.
Charlie's getting it. He's pulling out the
in a zombie
pull
apocalypse.
Out the tape measure.
It would work well as a shield and even as a skull basher.
Does he actually have a tape measure on him?
I have one in the drawer if you want to measure it. That's a solid 2.5 feet tall.
Yeah,
so two and change. Yeah.
So basically, it looks like a tombstone, except it's.
Is that your tombstone, Charlie?
Yeah, okay.
Charlie, is that
Charlie
the same
wanted
size?
It bagged and boarded when he got here.
Is that the same
if you
size?
see him coming down the con floor with that, watch out.
Is that the same size as the Conan and the X-Men one? Or is it this bigger? The adamantium Wolverine?
Oh, this
is bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, this is bigger than those slipcases.
That's probably 2 feet.
Oh, I didn't know you opened it.
I just did.
It is.
It's
gigantic.
Monstrous. Yeah.
So I want to let everybody know that we received the product today, and there was a special box that we got out of Ryan's car, and Ryan's like, "I really want to know what's in that."
I have no clue what's in
no clue what's in that. We open it, it's this thing.
Oh, Kevin may know the answer to this question. Is this possibly Alex Ross's full size painting canvas? Do you know? Have you seen Marvel's original pages?
I have not. I've seen photos of him with them.
Seriously, she had one in her purse.
I wonder if it's
like
his
the size of
awesome.
I wonder if it's full size to his original painting. It's 2 feet.
No, it's a bit less than 2 feet.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just so
it's very large. It's very large. Yeah. I was wondering because I know in those artist editions that IDW does, they are direct reprints of the scanned artwork. So they are 1-to-1 that size. I wonder if Alex Ross paints at a larger scale.
Could we do a quick shout out here for the?
I don't think because they did the Monsters Unleashed or whatever Monster Edition that was the same size, I believe.
Okay.
So I think it's just a weird naming convention, and this is probably the only book I would get from Marvel in this size.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense with Marvel.
There we go. Come on, Charlie.
Now here's the question. When do they put out the Kingdom Come one that's this size?
Oh, Jesus.
Would you buy it?
Oh, I absolutely would buy it.
What about Ryan?
Oh, Marvel's is easily one of my favorite Marvel comics of all time.
Would
Marvel's
you buy a Kingdom Come of this size?
I just don't have anywhere to store that stuff. I don't need it.
Speaking of Marvels, did you read the Marvel's epilogue?
No, I didn't. If they put out a nice hardcover that collects that, like an oversized, I'll probably pick that up. Because I don't have a collected edition.
You should read
announced a hardcover with that and the epilogue.
Okay, they did.
Ryan Higgins should read Marvel's epilogue.
I heard a certain Dick Ryder makes an appearance in it.
A certain, yes.
Yes. But Marvel's easily one of my favorite comics of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Charlie, find me that page. This is a tough call. I don't have a lot of my favorite panels of all time. Favorite panels are very tough. The I Can See You Animal Man panel is one of my favorite comic panels of all time. Marvel's contains one of my favorites ever. But top 10, maybe even top 5. The page of Giant Man stepping over the city.
The city, yeah.
One of my favorite comic panels ever. And I want to see what that looks like in this because he's stepping over. What's the reporter guy's name? I'm blanking on
Phil Sheldon.
Phil, yeah. That
Marvel's is just really good.
That page is.
This is almost like a 2-person job.
That page is one of my favorite pages ever.
Was it early on in the?
No, it's later. It's
because we got to get into the Silver Age.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is like the FF.
Yeah, so it's probably right after that. And it's a full page. It's a full splash page too, if I'm not mistaken.
But I think it's going to be. So right now we're at the New Avengers with Cap and the Scarlet Witch,
like a 3/4. So it should. I can look at it later. Yeah, we'll end this podcast.
We don't have to sit here on the air and flip through the.
But it's one of my favorite panels ever, and yeah.
It has one of my favorite panels as well. Is where Phil Sheldon and Gwen Stacy are walking down the street, and there's the Atlantean. Like kind of invasion happening. It's not really an invasion.
That's in the 4th issue.
That's in the 4th
right?
issue.
Yeah, before she dies. Yeah. That 4th issue, for some reason, kind of honestly threw me off. But it's a little depressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa. The 2-page spread of the
Galactus,
the fire,
the flame, yeah. When they try to hide the Earth behind the giant flame, it's amazing. All right, well, we're looking for these pages. We might as well wrap up. Go check this out if it's at your comic store tomorrow. If not, maybe special order it. It's reasonably priced too. What is it? $75?
Right?
I thought that was a pretty good. I love that
for the size.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very reasonably priced. We got to thank our good friends on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy, where you kick us a couple bucks if you would like for hosting of this podcast and to get some credit to these guys to pick up some more comics. And, you're like,
wow.
Hey, I listened to this podcast.
This is really cool. I mean, we're just sitting here gasping and wowing at this book. I mean, honestly, it's one of the cooler things that I've seen. And
it's fucking awesome.
And the artwork really holds up in this format.
Yeah. That's why I'm almost wondering if it is, because it doesn't look weirdly pixelated or anything like that. So he must paint at this size. It must be someone. But we're always happy to give you, a good 6 to 10 hours worth of free content every month. And if you are not picking up comics on our web store, that's at comicsconspiracy.biz, maybe think about kicking us $1 or $3 over at patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. We always appreciate everyone, but we really appreciate our top-tier backers. We like to thank them every week. That is Julian Titus at the Nerds of the Pants podcast, at pixelbit.com, pixlbit.com. Julian, keep reading House and Powers, man. Hope you like it. If not, maybe stop reading. It's all good.
And, try that Morrison run again, because it's really good.
Oh, it's fantastic. That's a thank Sam Shea. Thank you very much. Craig Anderson, who's over at craigpanderson.com. His site's not very nerdy. He's all about helping professionals become the best they possibly can be. A little life coaching, maybe, if you will. Whatever you want to do, check out craigpanderson.com and tell him we sent you. Joe Duff, of course, as well as Andrew Nelson Mendez. He's at Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast. Check that out on Apple Podcasts and wherever podcasts are found. And, of course, Ryan Marling, who's over at tiny.cc/orneryduke, ORNERYDUKE. He does a series of Pokemon unboxing videos on YouTube. And, man, if you got some kids that love that Pokemon, go over there, watch them unbox those videos, and... Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very, very fun.
True unboxing.
He needs some subscribers. Seriously. I heard he actually opens them, looks at it, reseals it, and then opens it.
I don't know how many times I have to tell you people, I'm not going to take a video, record me opening something that's damaged, and then go, oh, it's damaged. I'm not putting this up. It's a waste of my time.
We don't get
there. It is. There it is.
Then we don't get an honest reaction.
It's a half page. It's a half page. Yeah. That is one of my favorite panels.
Look at the other side of it.
What's the other side? I don't remember. Oh, that's where the whole team comes out, right? Yeah. And of course, Ryan, he's looking for subscribers because you're going to get that sweet, sweet custom URL. So make sure you go and subscribe to his videos. So go to comicspiracypodcast.com, geekbox.net, and Apple Podcasts for all our previous episodes. And we always like a rate and review. It helps a little bit.
Going through this.
Of course, you can also go over to youtube.com/comicsconspiracy if you would like. And you can watch a black video that has our store logo on it.
You're just going to listen to it.
While listening to our wonderful podcast on YouTube. And of course, if you want to hear your podcast question read in about 5 years' time, you can send it to and that's not true. I sometimes read them beforehand.
That's false.
thecomic.conspiracy@geekbox.net. And we don't have much time left. Less than a month. That's digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. Pick up the last of your digital comics from us before our storefront goes away.
Wait, it's going away?
The digital storefront's done, man.
What's going to happen?
Amazon has said, we're done. So
You're done.
No more digital retailer storefronts. There's very few stores that use it, and they're just going to shut them down because why?
Bitches.
Well, if no one uses it, why have it?
Where are you going to get your $7?
I don't know. Well, we get a little bit more than $7. We do pretty good with the digital storefront. I mean, it's not going to, sink the store, but, I like money. So... continue to give us money at comicsconspiracy.biz where you can pick up physical comics from us. We started the task of importing our back issues.
Oh, God.
It is going to be a monumental undertaking that will never end, probably. We're starting. If you need Action Comics back issues, they're online right now.
If you're a shop that's on the hub, get together with Ryan and start putting some stuff on yourself so that the world can come together and everybody can do one title. Ryan has started with Action Comics, which is a massive undertaking. Go ahead and start with Power Man and Iron Fist or do something.
Well, the modern stuff, yes. The old stuff, it might be every store for themselves. We'll see. They're trying to see if they can find a way that there could be kind of a unique item.
Get greedy, Ryan.
A unique item for stores that we can edit. We'll see.
You're avidly talking to Stu.
Yes.
Over at Comic Hub about how to do this properly so that it's easy for everybody and benefits everybody, but doesn't.
If you need all new issues of Marvel Comics from 5 years ago, every all new comic series should be up this weekend or next weekend. We're making progress through the A's.
I want you to actually skip the A's and just do Batman because I want to thin out that
Batman
section.
Is going to be months worth of work, okay? 6 months to get through Batman
I can just see it now by the time, Ryan and Brock and Marshall and anybody that's plugging that stuff in gets to, yes, we finished everything, and then Comic Hub just goes, we're not in business anymore. I'm sorry. We're not even selling our platform.
It'll be Marvel relaunches some title with some letter that we've already been through, and we're like,
well, the new stuff is in the system. That's easy.
No, that's when Amazon will buy it.
ConspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's blog, video pull list, and unboxing videos. You can go over there and watch his videos. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension. That's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast, and Etsy.com/shop/.
So Ryan
Hill Art. That is Leanne, my wife's Etsy store.
Let's talk about Leanne.
You can go to leannehill.com.
Can we get commissions from Leanne?
You absolutely can.
Can we get a commission of? Then this was brought up on our little Facebook page.
Okay.
That we wanted to get, and I don't know. I mean, I think this is a pretty wise idea. Let's crowdfund this.
Leo wants some commissions.
We want to get Leanne to commission Ryan and his experience at Comic-Con this year. From Toby trying to wake him up, maybe he's asleep, to standing in line at the boat, to...
So I think, not to step on the artist's toes, but I think I'm envisioning this like just a normal drawing of Ryan in the middle.
Yes.
And then like little scenes all around.
Yes,
around
montage,
the
exactly. Yeah. Montage style.
Well, if you go to etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArts, you'll be more than happy to provide you with all the commissions you
like. Could have a little Ryan in his bed with a sleep mask on.
With a sleep mask on, and Toby going... I think he's asleep.
Wait, you have a sleep mask?
I do not. I should have, though. Ryan Higgins, that is me. I'm on Twitter.
Every single picture is going to be of you in a sweaty Batman T-shirt.
If you never want to hear about politics,
shirt underneath the coat.
If you never want to hear about politics and mass shootings, you definitely should follow Ryan Higgins on Twitter. Brock is Brock Sager. Charlie is Insanity and Chaos. Scott is CS Shea, SHEA. Kevin Sharp is That's Kevin Sharp. Of course, Comics Conspiracy, the retail store, is Comics Con Store. You can go over there and follow the store if you want just that comic news. Geekbox, Comedy Button, Manga Machinations, and the Infinite Binge on YouTube. Go check those guys out. Some things our friends do. It always is nice when you watch things that our friends do. Go check those out. Yeah, that's it. That's a podcast. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. We'll be back next week. See you later.